Yo, what's up? I'm KallaTheYapper. I'm back with another reaction. Today, I'm going to react to another video by Smacksan RB. And this video is how Wuthering Waves completely outshines the big four. Here's why. Let's see if his reasoning is either biased or if it's actually good faith. I would love to see this. Now, let's get started. Before I continue, make sure you like, sub, turn on notification bell, and all that other dandy stuff. I'm gonna leave a link to the content creator in question in the description, so you can go check out his video by yourself and give it your own view, your own like, and all that dandy stuff. Now, let's begin.
Wuthering Waves, in my brutally honest opinion, is outshining every single gacha game that's out right now. And there's no doubt in my mind that we'll continue to see
every other gacha game that's out right now, when the only ones he's talking about is the big four. Anyway, let's continue
this for the foreseeable future. I played a fair bit of gachas in my heyday, and I promise you that's not a flex. This crap's low-key a disease. But I've also played all of the big four: Genshin Impact, HSR, ZZZ, and recently within the past month, I've slowly gotten into Wuthering Waves. I took the time to see Wuthering Waves for what it is, and I drew up the conclusion that Wuthering Waves is the most well-rounded gacha game that we've had in a very long time. Now, what exactly do I mean by well-rounded? Well, Wuthering Waves, in my opinion, delivers and in some ways thrives in practically every aspect in what it means to be a gacha game compared to the other big four. Hence why Wuthering Waves is looked at as the #1 gacha game out right now.
Looked at as the #1. Saying that it's #1, that's an opinion. That's not fact. Looked at as the #1 is complete opinion based. Honestly, if I'm being honest, the actual truth is Wuthering Waves and Zenless, both of them are at the same level as each other because of how well the devs have done when it came down to player feedback and responding to it.
Now, but for this video, I really wanted to dive into the things that I think Wuthering Waves blows the big four out of the water with. So sit back, relax, and let's
I'll be prepared to counter any points that I disagree with.
glaze a bit. But before we do that, for those of you that are new here, my name is Smacksan. I make discussion-based and challenge-based content. If any of that sparks your interest, make sure to hit the sub button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. My community Discord is pinned in the comment section down below. And without further ado, let's get into this.
Oh, also, I have a community Discord as well. My YouTube community Discord is in the link of my channel, so go check it out if you want to. It's quiet most of the time because most people aren't yapping or talking most of the time because there's nothing much to talk about. You know, we got our own lives that we're dealing with, that we're busy with, right? But still, go enjoy, chat it up, talk it up. Anyway, let's begin.
One of the biggest things that surprised me with Wuthering Waves was its story. Now, we've seen with the big four that Hoyo games are capable of creating a good story, but their storytelling is by far the worst shit I've ever seen. Heck, I even made a video not too long ago talking about how Amphorius in HSR was actually one of the best stories to date, but due to their storytelling, it completely ruined it.
I hard disagree about the whole storytelling thing, blatantly, especially after what happened from version 3.1 till now. So this whole, like I said earlier in his, in his other video, I'm saying earlier because I'm just gonna react to his other video about why it is he's an ex-Zenless player that's now starting to play WoW or crap like that. Go check that out. I already disagree with what he's saying right here about the storytelling. The storytelling has gotten way better entirely. I disagree with that point.
And that's a typical trend when it comes to these Hoyo games. And to be quite frank, this is exactly what I was expecting to get within Wuthering Waves.
The thing is, Wuthering Waves actually does do the same shit. Like I said earlier, black screen white text, the character's body models, reusing body poses. That's another one. Something else I started to notice too is that Ambi has started to become like Paimon, where the nigga is so retarded that he doesn't understand certain basic stuff, or he's being like, oh, let me repeat this so that you understand, despite the fact they don't need to do that. I've started noticing that, especially in 2.6 story. I noticed it. I was like, hold up, why he acting like that?
Another story which I'd rather just skip because it seems like the industry gacha standard for stories are so low that we should just expect it to be a hot pile of doo-doo. But boy oh boy was I completely wrong. So many gachas either rush you through the plot or just kind of dumps pages of text in your face. But Wuwa somehow gets it right. The story actually feels alive and engaging and gives you the real reasons to care about the characters. And speaking of characters, they're a big part of why the story works. They feel like actual people, not just units you pull for stats. The game
Bro, I'd have to disagree with how he's framing this because the same shit applies to Genshin, Star Rail, Zenless, and even Wuwa. I hard disagree with this idea that those other three gachas made by Hoyo does not exceed in that same realm that Wuwa is. I hard disagree with that. Because that implies that every character and every unit since the start of the game has only been to sell units and not actually tell a good story with these units. Hard disagree. And I've been playing Genshin the longest. I played Genshin for 4 years, going on 5. I played Star Rail for 2 years. This is the second year I'm playing Star Rail. I started late. I started a whole year after everyone else. And Zenless, I've only played for a year. And Wuwa, I think I've only played for like a couple months. So it's like, I hard disagree with this point that he's making right here. The storytelling point, I disagree with. Especially when it comes across both Genshin, Zenless, and Star Rail. Star Rail storytelling has gotten better, blatantly. There is no question about that. Genshin storytelling, I'm gonna be honest, niggas have overblown that shit out the fucking water. The reason I say this is because the hate that Genshin Impact has towards it, because we went from valid criticism to now we're just saying Genshin is trash for the sake of it now. Now it's like those criticisms are just mute. I seen a nigga post content on somehow the story makes it feel engaging versus the story how it doesn't make it engaging, and they're comparing Wuwa to Zenless, or Wuwa to Genshin rather. And I saw it and I was like, wait a minute, this video is dishonest. This is purely based off of your opinion versus the objective fact. Why are we acting like this moment was not engaging? Just because you said so? Not because, oh, they decided to throw make it a whole black screen white text moment, because that's not what happened. It visibly showed us what we needed to see. It was a character moment, an important character moment, but we're deeming it as bad now because you just feel like War is better? No, that's not a valid criticism. That's not even a good criticism. Let's continue.
Part of why the story works. They feel like actual people, not just units you pull for stats. The game takes the time.
Again, I'm going to mention this as well because he says he's a ex-Zenless only player. I would like to ask him, did he not feel that way when it came down to Zenless from version 1.1 all the way to 1.4 or from version 1.5 all the way to 1.7? Did he not feel that that's what was going on with the story? Or does he feel like that didn't happen at all and they were just pushing the sell units? Because if that's what he believes, I'm already disagreeing.
Time to show you who they are, how they think, and how they grow over time. Every interaction, every cutscene, even small conversations between characters make you feel connected.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm even hard disagreeing with this even more now because as someone who plays all 4 of these Gacha games, every last one of them do this. The way he's implying this, he's implying that Withering Waves is the only one that does it or does it right. I already disagree with that blatantly. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, am I supposed to act like Genshin didn't do this? What about for example, a good character example between like the Traveler and a playable character? Like the Traveler and Nahida, or the Traveler and Farina, Traveler and Nouvellette, and the conversations they had, or the conversations between Nouvellette, Traveler, Farina, and Navia. What about in Natland when it came down to Kachina, Mulani, and their whole dynamic with each other? What about Chaska with her sister who died in Natland? Harlequino and her children of the House of the Hearth, her interactions with them. For Star Rail, I'm just saying every interaction between characters in Star Rail when it came down to Amphorius in particular, which is my favorite, which I'm going to keep mentioning that, the interaction between Finon and Maide, or seeing Finon slowly go down his path that he's going down and reaching the climax of that. Or Treeby and her conversations with, what's her name? Aglaia and their connection between each other. Like, or in Zenless Zone Zero, the connection between the entirety of the Cunning Hares and their squad, or the Bellabog construction industry, or Section 6, or the Sons of Caledon. Like, the way he's implying this, he's implying that those 3 games do not do this, or they don't do it good, which I disagree with entirely, especially as someone who's actually played the games, right? I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I played them and I know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this. So I already disagree with this point that he's making, because to me, it's coming off as we want to glaze Wuwa and put down the other games. That's just how it's coming off to me. Now, if you want to sit here and call me a shill for that, for mentioning that, go ahead. I don't give a fuck. But that's just how it's coming off as how he's talking about it. Let's continue.
It feels like you're following their journey and seeing them change alongside the story. The pacing is another thing that hits really well. WoW doesn't overload you with constant action or non-stop dialogue. Instead, it knows when to give you quiet moments and when to hit you with the big emotional payoffs.
Again, he's framing it as if the other games don't do this.
Those bigger moments actually feel earned, and they hit way harder because the game takes its time building up to them in a proper way. In my opinion, what really makes WoW's story stand out is how emotional it is. When characters reveal something personal or go...
Again, he's stating his opinion, but he's pushing it as fact, and that's the problem I have with this. Am I supposed to act like I wasn't emotionally captured with Finon in version 3. I'm pretty sure it's 4 or 5. 3.4, I believe. Yeah, version 3.4. Like, was I not captivated by his story, his and Cyreni's story? Xenoblade Zero, was I not captivated with the Sons of Caledon and their story? Or what about, or even the Phaethon sibling story entirely? Or what about in Genshin? Was I not captivated by the Traveler and their sibling and their story that they have going on? Or Farina and Nouvellette? Like, there's a whole list of characters and stories in all those Hoyo games that I'm mentioning right now that have succeeded in actually doing these really well. But from the framing of his video, he frames it as if they don't do this or they don't do it good at all in comparison to other ways. And I just hard disagree with that.
Go through change or face a challenge, it actually lands. It feels real because the game has earned those moments by letting the story and the characters develop naturally. At the end of the day, Wuthering Waves doesn't just have a story, it has a story that actually matters, one that makes you want to keep playing, explore more, and see what happens next. It's immersive, it's satisfying, and it's a huge part of why the game feels so special to me. It was definitely something new to me. Experiencing a good story within a gacha game, who the fuck knew? Another major thing that Wuthering Waves does really well with is their world exploration. And let's keep it a buck here, they really needed to hit the ball on this one. We all remember how utterly terrible it was to go through Genshin Impact's open world.
I'm gonna be honest right now, I made a whole video about that, and I'm gonna be honest right now. Niggas, again, this is another point, niggas blew the fuck out of the water, being like, oh my god, it's such a struggle to explore in Genshin. No, the fuck it wasn't. Niggas are overblowing the fuck out of that, bro. And again, if someone call me a shill for this, go ahead, I don't give a fuck. My nigga. Exploring through Genshin was not a difficulty. Exploring through Mondstadt, it wasn't difficult. Exploring through Liyue, again, it wasn't difficult. Inazuma, it wasn't difficult. Sumeru, same, again, not difficult. Chinyu Vale, Fontaine, Natlan, and now Nodcry that has just released. Guess what? Something that people keep missing every time they talk about exploration in Genshin, they keep forgetting that ever since from Inazuma all the way to now, Nodcry, they've always implemented a free traversal mechanic that allowed for you to have a smoother traversal experience where you didn't feel the need to pull for a character in order to get better traversal. You can just use that and it helps you greatly. But people want to frame it as, oh, you had to spend money. And that's not the truth. And again, even just going based off my own experience playing the game, because if traversal in Genshin was so horrendous, why don't I have that same exact feeling as everyone else when they make that claim? If someone wants to use the, oh, because you're a shill, that's not a good enough argument. So you go ahead and get that to the trash can. You want to know the reason why I didn't come out feeling that same way? Because one, I wasn't trying to speed rush exploration that I noticed that a lot of people love doing. A lot of people love speed rushing exploration. It's not a speed rush. Take your damn time. And two, most areas that you can reach in Genshin were easy to reach. Especially when they provided a free traversal mechanic that allows for you to actually get up to the places you need to get to, and so on and so forth. Nodcry, by definition, is one of the easiest places to explore in all of Genshin Impact, blatantly. But anyway, that's enough at this point. Oh, I will say this: Wuwa, when it comes to exploration, Wuwa's exploration is good. It's good, right? But what they've done now with the implementation of the flight mechanic being in the first area, right, for older players is actually freaking useless. And it will create, without a shadow of a doubt, it will create this void where now that I've explored everything, right? Because like most places you can reach in Wuthering Waves, you did not need the flight mechanic at all, if I'm being freaking honest with y'all. The flight mechanic should have only been in places where you needed to fly versus places that you want to just fly for the sake of it. Now I know someone may take that as that's pretty anti-player, but let me explain further. Like I said, again, most places in Wuwa were easy to reach. You can run up the wall. You had a grapple hook. You had so many gadgets that would alleviate the stress or the tediness. I said tediness. the boredom that open world exploration would cause, right? By making it smoother and faster. But now it's going to be to this point where now exploration doesn't feel exciting or rewarding anymore because it's so easy. Oh, I'll just fly up to the top of the mountain and get that chest. That's it. Oh, I'll just run up the wall and get the chest. Boom, that's it. Right? It's getting to the point where it's so streamlined, easy just for you to get chests that it's like, okay, what's the point of me even exploring anymore? Right? Because I'm gonna be honest, I would love to know, for any WoWA player who plays WoWA religiously, tell me, are y'all doing any of the open world exploration quests at all? Or are you just running around collecting chests? I would love to know this. Because Genshin Impact has world quests that I love doing. I'm engaged with it. I haven't done any world quests related to WoWA yet, or Star Rail, or even no, I've done a bunch of world quests for Zenless. But Genshin world quests, I lock into most of the time, especially since Natlan. I started locking into it really hard, right? That feels like real exploration to me rather than just running around collecting chests, if I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know some people hate on world quests and whatever because you can't skip it or whatever, or not voice acted. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's some of the most enjoyable shit I do. I can dedicate an entire stream just doing one world quest, and it's fucking fun. I'm locked in, I'm engaged. Go scroll back through my channel. You're gonna find me doing a world quest, one world quest in particular. No, about 2 world quests I did for Genshin Impact. I streamed it. It was fun. I enjoyed the crap out of it, even if it had no voice acting. It was still engaging. Anyway, let's continue.
It completely felt empty and a slog to go through. Now, to point out, WoWA's world exploration in 1.0 was definitely a step up from Genshin Impact's, but 2.0 was really where I found it stepped up in. The overworld in 2.0 itself was packed with content. There are enjoyable puzzles to solve, hidden bosses to discover, and all kinds of secret areas that make every corner of the map feel worth visiting.
Again, Genshin Impact has all those things. This is not to say that WoWA, to downplay WoWA, but the way he's framing it, again, he's framing it like Genshin didn't have these exact same things. WoWA is most definitely Genshin 2.0. That's all it is. It's not a bad thing that that's what it is. But like, trying to frame like Genshin didn't have any of this good stuff that was also enjoyable, it's kind of iffy.
Visiting. You're constantly being rewarded for paying attention and thinking creatively about how to navigate the environment. It makes exploration feel
Really? Is that? Are you sure? I would have to disagree with that claim, especially with what I just said earlier. I would argue Genshin actually makes you have to think twice about doing XYZ. For example, if you can't climb up a certain ledge, you know you have to maneuver around it because there's different ways to skin a cat, right? That whole saying goes. In WoWA, there's different ways to skin a cat. Yeah, sure, but they've kind of streamlined it all in one way, whereas like, there's not much thinking process going on between, oh, how should I move about this, that, and the third versus Genshin. In Genshin, I'm thinking about, okay, how should I climb this? How should I climb that? How should I get across this? How should I get across that? Right? Versus WoWA, I'm not doing any of that because they just streamlined it for me. So it's just like, boom, just like that. Shoo. Since flight now exists in the first region of the entire game, it's even more streamlined and more easy and less thought-provoking. It's like, oh, here you go. The chest is yours now. There's no real thinking behind it.
Exciting rather than just a chore. But to be quite honest, the thing that makes WoWA's world exploration so enjoyable is being able to fly everywhere you go. Now, with the newest version, even 1.0 areas allow you to be able to fly. It's such a simple but dramatic change for the positive. It makes roaming around and exploring new areas actually enjoyable.
Again, I already expressed my opinion about that. Now, for someone to say, "Oh, do you think the freaking flight mechanic being in the first region is bad?" No, I don't think it's bad, but I do see the negative effect that it will have on exploration and the joy of exploration. Right? Because it's way more fun, in my honest to God opinion, it's way more fun running on the ground to climb up something rather than having a tool that just gets me to the top of a mountain faster. Now, I know someone will be like, well, doesn't that exist in Natlan with the Saurian? Yeah, sure. But that's only in one area of the entirety of Natlan versus the entirety of Natlan. And most things that you want to discover in Natlan is realistically on the ground or underground.
and also in turn, this speeds up player progression when trying to 100% certain areas. Overall, flying was just an amazing quality of life upgrade. Another huge reason why Wuthering Waves shines is just how free-to-play friendly it is. And honestly, this is one of the biggest things that sets it apart from other gachas in the big four. First off, let's talk about pity. In most Hoyoverse games, the pity is set to 90 pulls before you're guaranteed that 5-star. Wuwa cuts that down to 80 pulls.
I'm gonna say right now, that's not enough to sit here and say, oh, Wuwa better. And I've said this before on my stream before. That's not enough. A 10% difference is not enough. Because guess what? You will still lose that fucking 50-50. You want to know how I know this? I put Carlotta on my birthday back in January when I started playing Wuwa. I lost my 50-50 to a standard 5-star that I didn't give a fuck about. Had to pull out my card and swipe $80 just so I can get that character before her banner ended. So that whole 10% difference ain't enough.
That might not sound like a huge difference on paper, but it adds up fast. Over time, you're saving a ton of resources, and that makes chasing characters feel so much more doable without having to spend. Then there's the weapon banner.
Also, I need to say this. From what I've been hearing, the amount of pulls you're getting each patch has started becoming less and less. That's what I've started to hear lately. So the free-to-play friendly thing is up in the air.
And this is a game changer. In other gachas, the weapon banner is a trap with multiple featured weapons and no true guaranteed for what you.
The weapon banner being 100% guaranteed, that's cool and all. But like I said before, like I'll say again, it's still like not really enough. It's a good point, right? To say, oh, it's better than. Actually, you know what? I'll give them this. The weapon banner being 100%. And you get the weapon you want that you're actually trying to go for. Okay, that'll be the one point I give for Wuwa that outshines the other big four gachas. That's like the only point I'll give. Right, other points that he mentioned prior, I disagree with. This point, I'll give it as a valid point. Let's continue.
What you want. Wuwa fixes that. Here the weapon banner is actually guaranteed. If you're going for a specific weapon, you don't have to gamble endlessly. You know exactly what you're working toward. And that kind of transparency is huge for free-to-play players who can't afford to waste resources. On top of that, Wuwa is generous with its free income. Each patch hands out a steady stream of pulls through story content, events, exploration rewards, and login bonus.
I'm gonna say this right now, because this is what he's mentioning right now. I'm gonna be honest. The Wuwa community is the most dishonest when it comes to, or rather, the individuals of the Wuwa community, the bots rather. I've seen. This is what I saw. Let me tell you. I saw DJ King post a community post on his channel a while back, probably 2-3 weeks ago. I can't remember, or a couple days back, and it was on Reddit. You have people of the Wuwa community counting up any form of way that you will get limited pulls. Not just, oh, you complete the story, not just daily logins. They're counting everything to the bottom of the barrel. And what I find interesting about this, that I find just really dishonest when it comes out to the Wuwa community, when they sit here and say that Wuwa is so generous. If it's so generous, why the hell are you counting every damn thing to the bottom of the barrel that will give you limited pulls versus just daily logins? Because they don't carry that same energy when it comes down to Genshin. They don't carry that same energy when it comes down to a Star Rail. They don't carry that same energy when it comes down to even Zenless. So you're telling me that your game is more generous because you're counting up everything from daily logins all the way to the bottom of the barrel from just doing like, oh, I took a picture with a character and I got limited pulls. Are we fucking serious right now? To me, that's one of the biggest dishonest things about Wuwa's community when they sit here and say Wuthering Waves is more generous. If you have to count all this stuff that homeboy just mentioned to say that your game, that Wuwa is more generous, is not more generous. If it was more generous, that means every daily login that you would do would give you fucking 30 pulls. That's being generous, but that's not the case. Something I did notice though, I'm gonna keep going on my rant real quick, just let me have this. Something else I noticed is this. So back in early Wuwa, you would actually get full-blown 10 pulls. Because, you know, player compensation on that. But as time went on, they stopped giving more and more limited pulls every time you logged into the game. Now, you only get 5 limited pulls and 5 standard pulls. But if I compare this to both Zenless and Star Rail, every time you log into Zenless and Star Rail, you get full-blown limited 10 pulls every patch, not 5. So every login that you do for Wuwa, every update patch, you're only getting 5. You're getting half of what Star Rail and Zenless gives for limited pulls every login patch, every time the patch updates, or come in rather, right? I made a comment on Degen King's community tab. This is the same one I mentioned earlier about the whole WoW community counting up every last limited pull. I mentioned how why can't WoW, another new billion dollar company that's here, this new game, right? That's been out for almost a year or an entire year. Why is it that both Genshin and WoW cannot give out full-blown free 10 pulls? Genshin doesn't even give out a 10 pull at all. They don't even give out 5, but WoW only gives out 5 limited pulls and 5 standard pulls, right? So I was like, why can't they do this? And I had so much pushback being like, oh, they can't do blah, 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 giving excuses left and right for why they can't. And I was like, if Starrel and Zenless can, there's no reason Withering Waves can't. That was my response to that. So this whole point about this is the most BS point any WoW player or any WoW glazer can sit here and try to give to say that their game is more generous. It's the most bullshit point ever. Anyway, that's enough of my rant. Give me 1 second. I need to get me a drink. I'm thirsty. Whew. All this yapping making your boy thirsty. Okay, I'm ready to go. Let us continue and get this done.
Bonuses. It's not a trickle. It's enough that patch to patch, free-to-play players can realistically grab the characters or weapons they've been saving for. You don't feel locked out or like you're constantly falling behind if you're not swiping your card. And the best part, WoW's skill-based combat means that even the free characters you start with are strong enough and viable. You don't have to chase every banner to succeed. If you're smart with your pulls, plan a little, and make use of what the game gives you.
What I find so interesting is no one would dare use the same argument for Genshin, for Starro, or for Zenless, but they're so conveniently willing to do it for WoW. Isn't that crazy? Off rip, that already signaled to me that the bots of the WoW community are blatantly dishonest. This point that he's mentioning. Now, the combat thing, that's entirely different. Yes, WoW is more skill-based combat versus Genshin and versus Starro, because Starro is a turn-based game. There's no real combat skill issue you need to learn about that. Zenless, on the other hand, no, I disagree. Zenless has a lot of skill expression as well. It has just as much skill expression as WoW. And I'll be saying this too. I feel like WoW has started making their characters more streamlined in terms of how easy it is to use them. Because, for example, Calcharo in comparison to Augusta is way easier to use than Calcharo.
Being free to play and still building the team that you want is 100% achievable. At the end of the day, WoW respects your time and your wallet with lower pity, guaranteed weapons, and a steady.
Oh, I need to say this as well. Both Zenless, Starrel, and Genshin, they've optimized like daily logins so it doesn't feel tedious. Genshin especially. Genshin really changed up how they did daily logins. Before it was like you had to do the daily logins commissions, and now it's like just go do anything and you're gonna get those commission rewards regardless, which is such a better thing, right? And this is one of the reasons why I keep up to date with all these gacha games, because when we start doing this whole comparison game, I know what I'm talking about when I start yapping. I'm not saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just saying in general, I know exactly what I'm talking about when I start flapping my gums. But anyway, let's continue.
Steady flow of free pulls, it proves that you can enjoy the game to its fullest without spending a dime, and that's something the gacha space desperately needed. Now we've got to talk about another one of WoW's biggest strengths, and that's...
Oh, well, I've heard this new gacha game that came out, or the beta for it came out. I forgot what this name is, but they completely removed the gacha system entirely, so they already won up in WoW. The difference is we got to know how that gacha game actually succeeds in making money till the last, batch. They either got to do collabs with other gacha games, or they got to find some way to entice players to spend money for their game, for that game to succeed. So it has to come in the form of skins or like something. They got to find some way to make money.
And that's their character designs, in my opinion. In the gacha space, character designs are everything. It's what makes people pull, what makes them connect with the world, and what keeps them coming back. And honestly, what makes some of the best character designs I've ever...
The best character designs, he mentions these 5, of course. Naturally, who wouldn't mention these? Gabrana, I'm pulling for when she comes out next month. I'm going to have to skip these 2, unfortunately. I really don't want to, but I got to. Homegirl, I'm not sure if I'm going to pull for her. Wandering Swordman, more than likely I'm not pulling for him.
I've ever seen yet in a gacha game. What makes them so good is that they're not just flashy for the sake of being flashy. Every character feels intentional, their outfits, their color palettes, even the way they animate all tie back to who they are.
Again, the way he's framing it as if the other three don't do this, which I know is blatantly dishonest to claim, because he's pushing as fact versus opinion. And I'm like, bro, am I supposed to act like Arlecchino's design is not intentional? What about Finon? What about Miyabi? You see what I'm saying? What about the Traveler, the main character of Genshin? Their outfit design is intentional, down to the last detail. There's no other character that exists in Genshin Impact that dresses like them other than their sibling, and potentially, arguably, Skirk, out of every other playable character in the game. This whole mention of, oh, Wu-Wa's character designs are intentional versus the rest is a BS point, because he's implying that the others don't have intention with their character designs, which we know just isn't true.
You could take one look at a character and immediately get a sense of their personality, whether they're calm and composed, fierce and battle ready, or playful and lighthearted. Compared to a lot of other gacha games where characters can sometimes feel like they're designed just to sell banners, Wu-Wa's roster is cohesive. The designs...
The issue I have with this is that he's just talking about it, but he's not actually giving an example. And to me, it feels like he's pussyfooting around the thing he needs to mention. How about you actually, in my opinion, give an example of what you're talking about rather than pussyfooting around it? Because when you pussyfoot around it, it comes off as chump behavior and you don't actually want to say what you want to say. That's just me.
Fierce and battle ready, or playful and lighthearted. Compared to a lot of other gacha games where characters can sometimes feel like they're designed just to sell banners, Wu-Wa's roster is cohesive. The designs actually make sense within the world while standing out enough to be memorable. There's this balance between style and functionality that makes them believable, but still exciting. Another thing Wu-Wa nails is variety. You're not just looking at slightly different spins of the same archetype. The cast feels diverse, not only in their visual aesthetics, but how the designs connect to their combat style. A character who feels heavy and powerful looks the part, while someone more agile and fluid has animations and outfits that reflect that energy.
Again, the same applies for Genshin, Star Rail, and Zenless. I ask again, why are we acting like those three games don't do the same shit? Again, it feels like it's coming off as he's pushing his opinion rather than pushing fact. Because again, he did not show examples to prove his point, or even to paint his point the way he's trying to paint it. And that's the issue I'm already having with this conversation about character design.
It creates a sense of harmony.
Oh, I need to say this too. I already disagree with him on his point about character design, if that wasn't pretty obvious.
Between gameplay and design that a lot of games don't always get right. And let's be real here, they're just simply cool. From their weapons to their animations to the finer deep.
And that's not to say that Wuthering Waves don't have good character designs and good weapon designs and good combat. That's not to say any of that. It's just the way he's framing it is just coming off as mad dishonest.
Details in their clothing. Wu-Wa's characters have this sleek, modern meets fantasy look that stands out from what we've seen in games like Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, or ZZZ. They don't.
The ZZZ point, oh my god, that is. I'm going to have to kick rocks to that, my brother. No, nigga. I'm sorry. Nope. I let that fly. First of all, no, we're not doing that. To sit here and say the modern / fantastical designs don't fit in the realm of Zenless, Star Rail, even Genshin is crazy. To say that they're not even well done is wild. You got characters like Farina dressed in really modern-like clothing, existing in a fantasy world. In a fantasy-like world, I should say. Because if you know the lore of Genshin Impact, you know that it's pretty post-apocalyptic. But anyway, let's continue. I might disagree with this point, because we've seen a lot of characters who dress in modern style clothing existing in a fantastical world or in a space sci-fi type world, which is Star Rail. Star Rail has a lot of space Wi-Fi type characters, or they have characters that exist in their fantastical space sci-fi world, right? Who's a character I can think of? Finon dresses, some aspects of Finon's outfit is pretty modern, despite the fact it has this like Greek / Roman inspiration to it. Yet he still dresses in a modern like fashion. Right? You can notice it from his shoes, from his boots. Or no, from his pants to his boots. Even like his shirt feels a bit modern. right? Despite the like certain element designs to it, right? Same thing goes with like Dong Hung March 7th slash Evernight, right? For Genshin, let me go back. Let me think of another character that has like like for Genshin Impact, when it came down to Natlan, there's a lot of modern like elements in Natlan's character designs, which I don't have an issue with, right? I think they could have done a little more explanation and whatnot. But even with lore explanation, right? For Natlan, you see the NPCs with sneakers on their feet, right? And then you see the playable characters with sneakers on their feet. And they got baggy pants on, similar to how some of the playable characters have baggy pants on. You see like the modern style element of their character designs in the playable characters, but you also see it in the NPCs that live in that nation as well. Because this is the modern era of their nation. Yes, it may not look like a metropolis city, but this is their modern day. Because two things can exist at the same time. Look at Horizon Zero Dawn. These niggas dressing parts and shrapnel of robots and clothing left behind from the old world of the previous era. But they're still living in a modern like setting, despite how medieval it feels. Xenophon Zero, blatant example, post-apocalyptic meets fantastical. You got niggas dressed in pretty modern style clothing actually, but the power sets they have or the skills and abilities they have is pretty fantastical with the element of like the hollows existing, right? So I disagree with him on this point that he's making.
That stands out from what we've seen in games like Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, or ZZZ. They don't feel like copies of each other. They feel like a cast that you want to collect, not just because they're strong, but because you're genuinely interested.
Again, the way he's framing it is so poor and so blatantly dishonest with how he's framing it. For example, here, I can give an example of this. The entirety of the Cunning Hares dress in a certain way. You see the style of the Cunning Hares. You see how they dress. They got like streetwear clothing on, right? Then you look at Bellabog Industries. What are they wearing? They're wearing construction-like outfits, each and every one of them. Or they're dressed like an engineer. They got some form of that in their design element. The Sons of Caledon, same thing. You got sharp spikes, shoulder pad pieces, cut up jeans, cut up pants, cut up shirts, leather jackets, right? Then Section 6, the entirety of Section 6, they got more of the, we work at the office type dress code for every last one of them, despite having like really nice and well detailed weapons and stuff. When it come down to, Astro Yao and her group, right? She has Astro Yao, the pop star, and then you have her bodyguard, right? They don't dress exactly the same. That's fine, because a bodyguard doesn't need to dress exactly the same as their at the point person they're guarding. But there's a consistency of their design of what they're meant to be, right? Same thing goes with Mockingbird and their entire group, or the Victorian housekeeping. Same thing. Swabian Temple. Same thing, right? All of them either have design elements that match each other blatantly because of uniform, or they have a clashing, or they have like streetwear that all has the same type of feel to it, right? That's how it usually goes in Zenless, and that's good. That's great because it gives variety. It gives diversity in character design.
At the end of the day, WoW shows that character design isn't just about making characters look cool. It's about making them memorable, meaningful, and fun to play. And that's exactly why their designs hit so hard for me.
I mean, that's fine if it hits hard for you, but from the way you were painting it, you're not painting this as, it hits well for me. You're painting it as it hits across the board, objectively, for everyone. Right? This is why you got to be careful of your framing.
For me, another thing that makes WoW so great that I swear is slept on because I haven't heard anyone mention it before, I've got to bring it up, it's their music, because it's honestly insane how good the soundtrack is.
I've seen people mention the music being good. I don't know where he has not seen people mention it, but I've seen it. One thing I will give praise to both Wuwa, Zenless, and Star Rail for. Genshin is excluded from this because Genshin doesn't ever do this. For Wuwa, Zenless, and Star Rail, they all do this thing where they actually bring like, they'll bring like the orchestra, epic orchestra to it, but then they have like rock music playing, and you'll actually hear the singer singing the song. From Amphorius with Star Rail, and like other moments in Star Rail that happened. Xenoblade Zone Zero with version 1.4, that was a really cool moment. Even 1.5 had its moment with that. I'm trying to remember, what was the most recent moment that the song was going stupid? I can't remember. For Wuwa, you had the 2.6 story. The music was bumping like crazy. I loved it. I haven't done part 2 of the 2.6 story, so I'm gonna work on that probably next week or this coming week. But yeah, I love it when they do that. Genshin doesn't do it, and I have to assume that Genshin does not do this because they want to keep to this epic orchestra and fantastical feel of their world and their story, and they probably feel like rock music or like wouldn't fit. But then again, you have a character like Shin Yan that exists who is a rock musician, so it's like, is she gonna have a moment where she likes going crazy and starts singing crazy? That's a part of an epic battle cutscene moment. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
The soundtrack doesn't just sit in the background, it actually pulls you into the game. When you're out exploring, the music feels chill and atmospheric, like it's guiding you through the world. But the second you jump into a fight, it cranks up and gets your blood pumping. Boss.
Again, he's framing this as the other games doesn't do that.
Themes especially, absolute fucking bangers. They make every encounter feel epic. And then there's the softer tracks during story moments. Those hit way harder than you would expect. And
again, I need to say this again because I know someone's going to try to frame this. I'm not saying that Wuthering Waves doesn't have these things that he's mentioning. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they do have these things, but why are we acting like the other games don't also have these things as well? Right? That's my issue with the video and his framing of it. I know he mentioned that, oh, for me, but I'm not feeling like you're painting this as, oh, well, that's how I feel about it. This feels more so about, oh, how it is objectively across the board and how everyone feels about it. That's how it feels like when I'm listening to him talk about it. Anyway, let's continue.
And the kind of soundtrack you'd actually throw on outside of the game just to vibe to. For me, Wuwa's music is top tier because it makes every moment, exploration, combat, story feel bigger, more emotional, and just way more immersive. It's seriously one of the game's secret weapons. And lastly, I just wanted to say Wuwa's limited time events are actually heat. I'm not 100% sure if the quality has always been there within the recent patches.
I do not know where he got this idea that the limited time events for Wuwa are heat. I'd argue otherwise, especially from conversations I've seen. They are not the best. They're actually pretty lacking. On Cole Septa, I just did a reaction to Cole Septa's video about one of the fatal flaw of Wuthering Waves. And he talks about the limited time events not being engaging, not being fun, even like some of the puzzles and stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I disagree on this point based on my reaction to Cole Septa's video and even my own personal engagement with Wuthering Waves, like limited time event stuff.
But having a tower defense mode is sick as fuck. But to just wrap up the Krispy Kreme glaze in this video, with the very small time I've had with the game, I've already noticed the big things that make this game great, and I fully expect the devs to continue to cook up some more heat in the future. But as always, folks, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I always love making discussion-based videos because that means I can interact with you all in the comments. So make sure you let me know what you think. Did I hit the money in this video, or was I off the ball? Make sure.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. You was off the ball by like a lot throughout this video. I'm gonna just be blatantly honest with you. I'm not even gonna try to act like that's not how I feel about your video. Right, because there was a lot of things I can provide counterpoints to that I did provide counterpoints to throughout the video. Now, in a vacuum, are all these things about Wuwa true? Yeah, it is. But trying to paint it as if the other three have not done this exact same shit and also have not exceeded in those exact same shits is, in my opinion, dishonest.
Make sure if you liked the video, smack the vid with a like and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you enjoyed this video, I'm more than positive you'll enjoy either one of these videos on screen. On the left, we talk about how as an ex-ZZZ player, I decided to give Wuthering Waves a shot and the game absolutely blew me away. And on the right, we talk about how Amphorius and HSR was their best story yet, but due to storytelling made it one of the worst. That's
It's not. I done explained about the whole storytelling in Star Rail actually gotten better since version 3.1 till now. So that point he's making is a bullshit point. It's a mute point at this point. I already reacted to this video. You can go check it out. Hopefully it's already posted on my channel before this one is. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. His video, there's a lot of stuff I disagree with blatantly. Even one point in his video where I was like, why doesn't he provide a visible example so we can get a better picture? Because I felt like he was pussyfooting around it. Right? And yeah. And I will say this. This is probably the consequence of making short videos that's like 9 minutes long. That's only getting past the 8-minute mark for like, I guess, ad revenue, whatever. Right? Because I think that's the point of making it like 9 minutes long. So you can get that 1 point. But these quick, fast, we're not going to go into like in-depth detail about what I'm talking about type videos. I'm not a big fan of videos like this. I'm more of a fan of videos that actually put a little more depth behind it, right? Which is one of the reasons why I do that with some of my videos, which I call my yapping topics. You can go check those out. I have it in the playlist on my channel. Go check it. Go even watch it. Go give it a like and all that. But anyway, yeah. I think that's what I have for my criticism for this video as a whole. Now, hopefully the next video I react to is a little longer than this and goes a little more depth. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm not going to give it a like or dislike. I don't feel the need to do that because you already know what my position is. Anyway, for anybody else who's watching this reaction right now, go like, sub, turn on the notification bell, join the YouTube community Discord if you want to. I'll leave a link in the description for this content creator's video, and you can go check it out for yourself. Leave a like and dislike on his video if you wish to, and all this other stuff, or just go watch his content or whatever. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm KallaTheYapper, and I'm signing out. Peace.